Dunlop sponsors the British Touring Car Championship.
Dreadful start by Brett Smith, great start by Colin Turkington, who is away like a tickled rat. Matt Neal will have the inside line for the first element and he gets the race lead. There's a problem for Ingram, problem already for Ingram. So he hits Tom Boardman, Boardman gets sideways and loses a wheel ripped off Boardman's car. Matt Neal wins round 7 of the BTCC for 2018.
So Matt Neal winning from Colin Turkington and Dan Cammish, and now they're starting to assemble on the grid ahead of round 8 of the Touring Car Championship. And let's join Louise, who's behind me out there on the grid alongside Dan Cammish's car.
Yeah, Dan just making his way into his slot on the grid. We had a very quick chat with him after the first race, but I just thought I'd catch up because our earlier conversation was a bit abbreviated by the start of another race. So, Dan, as we were saying earlier on, great result for you in that first race. Now, you've got a little bit more weight on board for this one, which under normal circumstances drivers would view as a handicap, but it's actually a plus point as far as you're concerned, isn't it?
Yeah, you know, I'm quite new to this whole adding and taking away weight, but in the races we've done so far, I think the car, for my driving style and where I am at the moment, maybe the lap time doesn't increase, but in terms of driving dynamics, the car feels great. So I'm hopeful that the people around me will struggle maybe a little bit more than I do. But the proof will be, you know, in the next 10-15 minutes, we'll see what happens.
It is a little bit of a leap into the unknown because you had weight on board previously, but you haven't had weight at Thruxton, and this is quite a unique circuit.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I didn't test here with weight, but I have an idea of what's about to happen. But until you actually go out there and experience it, who knows? But yeah, I'm pretty sure that it's going to have the desired effect and hopefully help me where I've been struggling in that last race. You know, I could see where I was losing time. Hopefully this will actually help me a little bit compared to those guys around me.
So that 1-2 that we spoke about yesterday in qualifying is what you're aiming for, but that man up in front, your teammate Matt Neal, he's going to be very difficult to catch. He's absolutely on fire so far this weekend, isn't he?
Yeah, you know, the first 2 practices were, you know, he was close, but, you know, I think he'd be happy to say that I was doing a better job, and come qualifying, he put something together that was very, very special, there's no doubt. I've seen the data, it was a great lap. And, you know, as he was on pole and won last year, again, he did the same first race this year. So, you know, I've got a great teacher, learning as much as I possibly can in what's been a relatively short space of time. But, you know, here we are, third on the grid. Let's see what we can do.
Pull your finger out. I'll leave you to it. Right, let's go and see who Paul's got with him.
Thank you, Lou. Yes, I'm down here again. I'm with Rob Collard, actually, and you guys are getting your questions over at ITV Motorsport, hashtag BTCC on Twitter, and I'm going to ask the questions you've put to him. So first of all, Rob, we've got Andrew Gocher here. Is there a huge difference between car setup between different tracks? This is a completely different place than anywhere else, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Thruxton's very unique, so we run a completely different set of springs and roll centres here to other circuits. We've really been struggling this weekend to dial the car in, and yesterday in qualifying the car was good, but today in the race for me, I was really struggling with a lot of high-speed understeer. So, you know, this is not a track you want to have a car that's not handling very well, and yet the team have been working hard, and I'm sure they've got it sorted now for race 2.
And what do you mean by high-speed understeer? You mean the front is not gripping properly, or the rear's got too much grip?
You should be the engineer, Paul, because that's a question we keep asking at the moment. Go through turn 1 and you just turn in and the car just starts to understeer and push on as you're coming back to throttle. So you can't commit to full throttle, and that then doesn't allow me to attack the cars under braking into the complex. And as you know from your experience, braking into the complex, and that's where your attacking and your overtaking manoeuvres are.
I never overtook, mate. Miss Motorsport has asked, would Rob love to have his son Ricky Collard, who's absolutely mega, by the way, as a teammate one day in the series? That, for me, would be the best thing ever.
It would, absolutely, to have Ricky and even Jordan as well, the 3 of us. I think maybe not in touring cars, but maybe in a GT car, for example, where it's a little bit more accessible to have 3 drivers. because I don't know who would pay the budget if there was 3 collards on the grid.
I like that answer. Thank you for that, Rob. Brilliant questions there, guys. Follow me anyway. We're going to go and speak to Adam Morgan. Now, Adam's actually had quite a few wins round here. He's had a couple I know of, and he seems to be a bit of a master of this place. The Mercedes is one of the better chassis on the grid. It's got the Swindon engine. It's absolutely mega. So let's go and see what Adam's up to. And excuse me, gentlemen. Hello. Oh, mate, it's really cool in here, isn't it?
It's all right, isn't it? It needs to be for a ginger.
No sun cream on, mate.
Not today, I'm all right.
You've won round here before. I think you were leading the championship last year when we left here. Was that right?
I think that's pretty close. But, you know, we have always gone pretty well around here. Race 1, we're carrying a lot of weight, and I also hold my hand up. I completely messed the start up. I lost about 4 or 5 places. So the pace was still good when we got going. So hopefully now we've got rid of all the weight. The car felt much different already, much better, much more responsive. So hopefully, as long as I don't mess the start up, get away from here pretty well and hopefully move forward.
What did you see from the tyres? I know the engineers will check over them. Do you have any graining of any kind, or are you pretty happy with what Dunlop have given you with this harder compound?
The tyres for us came in pretty well. We had some damage where the tyres have been running over the curbs at the exit of Church, but overall the tyre wear wasn't too bad on the front left in particular. So our car seems to suit it pretty well. So hopefully, you know, now we've got some weight off. Like I said, hopefully we can push a bit harder in the race 1.
You think it's just going to be a get your head down, crack on, make a good start?
Hopefully. I wish it was that easy.
Yeah, so do I, mate. That's why I stopped. Anyway, thanks for that, fella. Back to you, Lou. I think we're toured off.
Cheers, Paul. I am P4 on the grid with Sam Tordoff. If he's had any luck this season, it's all been bad luck. So that was a really good result. And you really needed that result as well, didn't you?
I did, because we've had no luck so far. And it's not been through pace or want of trying. But, you know, as long as we keep qualifying well, eventually the results are going to come. And I'll take that position 4th in race 1 all day long.
I guess that's the frustration, is that the pace has been there the whole time. How good is it that now you can prove that and actually do something with that pace?
Absolutely. You know, we've got a fantastic car in the Focus RS here, and we've just not yet really shown in qualifying how fast it is, but just not yet backed up in the race. But you make your own luck in touring cars, and if we keep doing what we're doing, it'll come our way. We've got a long way to claw ourselves back in the championship. But I'm still looking at that top spot. This isn't over yet. We're here to win this championship, and there's a long way to go yet.
Well, in order to do that, you've got to get a serious result here. I mean, that podium, how difficult, how easy will that be to do? Because you've got some handy pedallers up ahead of you.
Yeah, I've got some quick cars in front of me, but they're all carrying a significant amount of weight, you know. Likewise, I am 48 kilograms, which is not a huge amount, but enough to think about during the race. But I'm really looking forward here. I think we can go one step further at least and get on the podium.
Good luck. You've got the points. I hope you get the prizes this time out. Right, we've got a quick break, but make sure you join us after that for our next race. See you in a minute.
They'll be sweeping past the new Thruxton Hospitality Centre in just a few minutes' time. It's round 8 of the Dunlop MSA British Touring Car Championship. First race winner Matt Neal is on pole position, and in the commentary box once again are Tim Harvey and David Addis.
And we're looking forward to another enthralling race. The first one perhaps a little bit on the calm side, but now you add in different cars in different places on the grid and the weight as well, and there's a lot to expect out of this, not only in terms of what the weight will do for Matt Neal's Honda on pole position, but what no weight whatsoever will do for Tom Ingram, starting 32nd, very nearly in Andover, right at the very back of the grid, and what progress he might be able to make, not necessarily purely for the result in this, but looking forward to race 3 and try and salvage some points. The team already arguing that maybe not leading the championship going to Alton Park is not the end of the world, because Alton's a difficult circuit at which to carry maximum ballast. So we'll see how things shape up for Ingram over the remainder of the day. He will line up at the back alongside Michael Caine, who has been to see the officials after that contact with Tom Boardman in the earlier race. And as the green flag is waved, we are in business. The warming up lap underway. Matt Neal heads them away for this last chance to have a look at the circuit before racing. The Honda on pole position. Matt Neal on pole for race 2 of the day. Colin Turkington, it is, lining up with him at the front. Then Dan Camish and Sam Tordoff, 4th ahead of Tom Chilton and Andrew Jordan. Senna Proctor is next. Brett Smith 8th on the grid ahead of Josh Cook and Chris Smiley. They are the 10 carrying the weight. Then Rob Collard 11th, no weight, one to watch ahead of Matt Simpson, Jack Goff and Adam Morgan. 15th is where you find reigning champion Ash Sutton ahead of Rob Austin. Then the Mercedes of Tom Oliphant and Aidan Moffat. James Cole goes from row 10 with Jake Hill alongside him. Then it's Mike Bushell and Josh Price. James Nash starts 23rd ahead of Rory Butcher and Ollie Jackson, with Bobby Thompson 26th on the grid. Stephen Jelly is 27th ahead of Sam Smelt. And then those that retired from race 1, Jason Plato, Tom Boardman, Michael Kane and Tom Ingram round out the grid. Tim, what are we expecting in this second race?
Well, obviously the first race is the result of time qualifying, so you start in the fastest car at the front, so perhaps no surprise as well with the first race that we don't get quite as much action. Now we put maximum ballast on those front cars and so on back. You're effectively starting slower cars in front, and here is the ballast for race 2.
So just to remind you, it's the top 10 over the line that carry it. Matt Neal then on 75 kilos. Never run with that in a race yet this year. Colin Turkington 66, heaviest that's been. Dan Camish 57. All the way down to 9 kilos for Chris Smiley, a lighter car therefore than he had in race 1.
Yeah, and therefore some good opportunities for the lighter cars to move forward. We heard Sam Tordoff expressing some confidence on the grid, and with 48 kilos he may well be able to go forward. The one thing I would say is that the BMW and the new shape Honda, which is slightly longer, will be able to carry the weight a little bit better, and they had such phenomenal pace in race 1. I'd certainly expect them to at least start off at the front of this race, and then we'll just have to see if the weight hurts them.
Now Matt Neal had back-to-back wins here in 2013. Can, with 75 kilos on board now, he take a second win of the day? It's not unheard of, but it's very difficult.
Yeah, it's not unheard of, but I'd have to look back to see the last time someone won both races with maximum ballast. It has been done,
yeah,
but we'll have to see. It could be the tipping point into tyre wear that leads to lap time deterioration. We'll just have to see, but certainly the car was working very well. I had a look at some of the left front tyres that were coming off several of the cars after race 1. They all looked absolutely perfect. So, you know, we're not seeing anything like the degradation or the lap time problems that we've seen in the past.
Jason Plato certainly did it at Alton Park the year he had the Volkswagen CC, and there was another one after him, I think, that did that back-to-back win. So, as you say, it's not unprecedented, but it's going to be tough. And Matt Neal comes up towards the grid. A quick word about Tom Ingram. What chance of making good progress? Because in theory, you can slipstream and overtake round here.
Yeah, but a lot of people were saying after race 1 it was hard to pass.
Right.
Everyone going the same, not so much tyre degradation. He can make progress, but he probably needs some instances and safety cars to do it. He's got 20+ places to get in the top 10 or top 12 for reverse grid.
Indeed so. So you've got Matt Neal on pole, Colin Turkington lining up with him there. The rear, not the back, the rear of the grid coming into place. There is still more to come. So James Nash goes through, new engine in that car for this weekend. There is the championship leader, Tom Ingram. And will he leave Thruxton ahead in the title race? It's possible, it's not guaranteed. There's a lot of water to flow under the bridge yet as he comes down towards the chicane. He said he had a beep from the alternator on the first lap, was on the radio. They tried different engine maps, but he could feel it getting progressively worse and eventually had to call it a day. In so doing, of course, getting as much repair time as possible. So the alternator failure from race 1 putting him at the back of the grid for race 2. 5-second board displayed. It's round 8 of the Dunlop MSA British Touring Car Championship from Thruxton, and it is go. Great start by Turkington, and this time he does launch ahead of Matt Neal on the outside, going up towards Allard. Good start by Tom Chilton on the inside. He's up the curb. It's 3 wide going round Allard. Andrew Jordan's made another rocket ship start as well. Tordoff is third just about, but Jordan's alongside him. Jordan on the outside line gets his nose in front, but Tordoff comes back on the shorter inside line. Tordoff third, Jordan is fourth, Chilton is fifth, and Dan Camish breathes in and just squeezes up the inside to try to get into the top 6. Can he do it? No, not quite.
Yeah, both the Works Hondas making poor starts this time. Neal losing a place to Turkington, and Camish losing 3 or 4 places.
So the race leaders then working their way through Goodwood and Village for the first time, with Turkington trying to edge clear. This is Andrew Jordan's view. He's attacking and being attacked as he rounds Village up towards Church.
He was looking ever so tired at the end of race 1. I understand he just had a lie down. Nobody really spoke to him, and replenishment of as much bodily fluids as they could get into him. But even in the car before race 2, he looked very tired, bless him.
But the adrenaline has kicked in, hasn't it? Because he's racing hard enough as they come down towards the chicane at the end of lap 1. Colin Turkington leads the way. Look back, that's Tom Chilton behind Andrew Jordan. There's more taskmates settling. Rob Collard is there attacking Adam Morgan. And Mike Bushell slow on the outside line as they come to the chicane with a problem. Leaders go through. Turkington has the advantage, half a second up at the end of lap 1. Matt Simpson goes through just ahead of Collard. And right with the pair of them is Jack Goff, struggling in race 1 for straight line speed as they now head up towards the complex. Jack Goff, Brands Hatch winner, lines up for a move on the inside. Can he go through? Breaks late. Goes deep into the corner, and he does go through.
Yeah, that was a good move by Goff. He's been struggling with this straight line speed, not just relative to other cars, but relative to his teammates. So a little bit of head scratching going on there at Eurotech.
And now you've got the two Powermax Tag Racing Vauxhall Astras running together on the back there of Tom Chilton. At the moment, it is Senna Proctor going through behind teammate Josh Cook. So they've had a switch around on this lap. Josh Cook making up progress, and he has a look to the inside now, approaching Church against Chilton, but he can't find a way through there. The leading 4 just edging away slightly from Chilton. That top 4 being Turkington, then Neil, then Tordoff, then Jordan, but it's nose to tail for 5th, and a slow is that Camish who has slowed right down. It's one of the works Hondas certainly as they come down to the chicane. So as you see, Chilton just defending his place from Josh Cook. One of the two Team Dynamics Hondas is in strife. There's a sideways Brett Smith just up ahead of Adam Morgan. He's going to put a move on him coming out of the chicane. Morgan carrying less weight this time around, goes through over the timing line. It was Dan Camish with a problem. Tim, he's dropped to 10th.
Yeah, no idea what that is, but a great shame for him after a good first race podium, and clearly got some issue there. We'll find out later. Adam Morgan on the charge up behind Chris Smiley. Lap 3 now, all the drivers free to use the curbs as the tyres are up to pressure and temperature.
So Colin Turkington leading the way by half a second, although last lap through, Matt Neal was quicker and did the fastest lap of the race, a 17.919. That's Tom Oliphant in the weeds, and he's a long way off the circuit. Is that the end of the race for the newcomer to the championship this year? The top 2 still together. Turkington ahead of Neal, then the battle pack for 3rd. You've got Tordoff ahead of Jordan. The one to watch in this, though, is Josh Cook, going really well now. He's, of course, only got 15 kilos on the car. It is the end of the day for a very irate Tom Oliphant, and this might explain how he got there. Let's have a look in the background. There's contact with James Cole, and Oliphant perhaps does a tyre or the suspension.
Yeah, well, it looked like he ran into the back of Cole, but Cole was offline, so there was obviously a little bit more to that than we could see. But he's got a fairly long walk back to the pits to calm down, hopefully.
Now, Josh Cook is up ahead of Tom Chilton now. You're on board with Cook going through Allard, so his next target is Andrew Jordan. It's Josh Cook's local circuit, and he's chipping his way forward then as they head towards the complex, and so too is Senna Proctor, who makes a move up the inside of Chilton. Does he go through? He tries, but he can't quite make the move, and Dan Camish is into the pit lane.
Yeah, but Proctor's got that move done now. The faster cars coming through, the lighter weight cars, and look, they can see that at the front Turkington and Neal are not getting away. They know that they're handicapped with weight. They know they've got a good chance. Morgan, look at Smiley's car dancing as it goes through the left-hander of Noble. Now he's into the long right-hander of Goodwood. What's the balance like? How much road is he using? All of the road on the run down to Church.
Nose to tail, Smiley and Morgan. There's Dan Camish. Quick pit stop, back into the race he goes. And you also got Jason Plato in the pit lane, I noticed there, and he was in the pits in race 1 as the leaders are nose to tail. Look at 3rd, 4th and 5th as well. Cook attacking Jordan. Is this Matt Neal for the race lead? There's no gap on the inside. Turkington fends him off. Cook round the outside of Jordan. They nearly lean on each other. Is Cook going to go over the curbs? Yes, he is. He goes through. Will that stand?
Well, now that's a question. The drivers this year, they're told if they gain an advantage like that, they have to give the place back or face sanctions after the race. And if there's any doubt, he should give the place back now, because if he gains further places, he'll then get put back behind Jordan after the race if they seem to be at fault for that.
So the team may well be on the radio to advise or suggest, but right now Josh is on a mission. He's all over the back of Sam Tordoff, and
And in fact, they're not that far adrift of the two race leaders, because Cook has done the fastest lap of the race, a 1:17.5. So the leading four covered by a second and a half. But, of course, he didn't do the chicane. It will be a good lap time, and that's only going to draw the attention of the officials even further to that incident.
To gaining an advantage, exactly. So although the driver always feels he's right, and he'll feel like he was forced wide, he should really give that position back. He wasn't passed before he went off the circuit. He was trying to go round the outside. Andy Jordan's online, and to me that looks like a pass round through the chicane. And what's this?
The leaders are nose to tail. This is the third. This is Cook going ahead of Tordoff, so he's gained another place. Matt Neal has caught Turkington. And look, Cook is closing. He's bringing the line closer to the leaders.
But Proctor has dropped behind Jordan, so he has given that place back.
Over the timing line they come. Josh Cook is third, so he's gained a place on Tordoff. Jordan is fifth. Senna Proctor in sixth place as ever he was. So no, Josh Cook's advancing, isn't he? Rather than handing back the place, he's on a mission. He's not hanging about.
No, you're absolutely right. He has gone forward.
You've got Chilton 7th, Smiley is 8th, Adam Morgan is up to 9th. Now, how is Tom Ingram getting on in all of this? Car number 80 is in 17th place from 32nd. He's nearly in the points.
Well, that's fantastic. Remember, the top 12 now, not the top 10. Top 12 get reversed for race 3. So he's got to get somewhere in that ballpark between 6 and 12.
Adam Morgan hustling on. His car has shed weight. He owned up, didn't he, to making a real mons at the start in race 1. And he's on the back of Chris Smiley, who wasn't quite happy with the rear of the car in the opener, but he's fending off the Mercedes here. The Mercedes traditionally goes pretty well around here, and Morgan doing another good job moving himself up the order.
Plato leaves the pit lane. He retired in race 1 because of engine worries, and it seems those are ongoing.
Matt Neal under attack, because here is Josh Cook going for second place on the outside line. Matt Neal brakes as late as he dares. They rub. Josh Cook round the outside will do it. Yes, he goes through. Josh Cook takes second place. Great drive this by Josh. He started 9th on the grid. He is now second, and he's going after Turkington. He is 11/10 of a second back. He could be on for a win here.
Well, we're seeing an absolutely reinvigorated Josh Cook this year, back with the team that he started his British Touring Car Championship career with. I just hope that he doesn't get all the way and then be penalised after the race, because the only penalty really applicable will be to put him back behind Andy Jordan. This was round the outside. Matt Neal fighting it out, gets a wheel on the curb. I was surprised Matt Neal fought so hard for this position. But Cook goes through. The lighter car, much more agile. You know, 75 kilos is a big amount of weight to stop and change direction with. So Cook easily the quicker car at that point.
So Josh Cook carries 15 kilos, remember. The man ahead of him, Colin Turkington, 66 kilos. There's a big difference here.
Correct.
BMW versus Vauxhall, 75 on Matt Neal's Honda that he's just found a way past. And look, straight away he's pulling away, and it's Tordoff on a mission, taking Jordan, Proctor and Chilton with him. And of course Adam Morgan is advancing all the time. Ingram's up to 16th at the expense of Aidan Moffat now, and with 10 laps to go could still gain further ground before the end. But Josh Cook driving spectacularly here. Remember, he's a touring car race winner now, and that of course will really boost his confidence.
Yeah, really will, and it's a joy to see, isn't it? Oh, Ingram sideways through the chicane. He's absolutely wringing the neck of that Toyota Avensis.
So the team has fixed the new alternator, regrouped, got a strategy for the rest of the afternoon. He's mid-pack already, then he's 16th. I think that's the only lap he's not actually gained further ground on, but there is another line of cars ahead that he can make progress through. Andrew Jordan then, despite this gastric bug, whatever it is, feeling definitely lousy, is attacking. He's on the back of Sam Tordoff's Ford, and he's under attack from Senna Proctor in the Vauxhall Astra. Tordoff then turning his way up now towards Goodwood, heading towards Village, and then Church on this, the 8th lap of the 16.
Yeah, similarly ballasted Proctor with 27 kilos, Andy Jordan with 33, so quite close. The Sam Tordoff with a bit more, 48.
Sam Tordoff then, having been 4th in race 1, 4th in race 2, I think he'd be content with that just to get the points. But look at the way that Cook is hustling on. The gap is coming down and down and down between the leaders. It was 0.8 of a second starting this 8th lap. They're about to come across the timing line. out of the right chicane. Over the timing line now goes Turkington, goes Cook, 0.380 between them. Matt Simpson gets forced out to the right over the curve by Ash Sutton, who gets forced out to the left coming out of the chicane. Tom Ingram gets up the inside of Rob Austin. Ingram goes through now in 15th place, make that 14th at Allard because he's got ahead of the Alfa Romeo.
And he may get Sutton as well here on the run up to the complex.
He's on the inside line. Matt Simpson is ahead of them in the Eurotech Run Honda, and he's up the curve, and Ingram is alongside Sutton. Inside for Campbell, the outside for Cobb, and he slots back in behind the reigning champion. Aidan Moffat offline, staying with them at the back of that group. And Moffat now fights up the inside of Rob Austin, taking different lines, but he's going to be on the outside for Noble, and the Alfa Romeo Giulietta fends off the Mercedes. Well, if race one was calm, as Austin gets all sideways, this is a lot more frantic. Has Aidan Moffat got past the Alfa? They come back into shot. They're still side by side.
Yeah, I think he'll have enough of momentum to get him as they run down to Copse. Can Ingram get past Sutton on the run up to the chicane? Will he get a better exit? But up front, Cook is right on the back of Turkington. Turkington will know that he's lighter and will just try and drive his own line. And if Cook's got the speed to get past, he gets past.
Front-wheel drive Vauxhall Astra, lighter on weight, very quick driver behind the wheel. Cook has all the ingredients here for success, doesn't he, as they come out of the right-hander of Allard. This pack through the chicane is Ash Sutton going over the line, 13th. Ingram is 14th, and in the points up to 15th is Collard. Down to 16th has gone Rob Austin. We are now on lap 10 of 16. It is Turkington and Cook together for the race lead, but there's a lot happening all the way up and down the order here.
Turkington still has that lead at the moment, but has got a few laps left to go. And by this stage, tyres will start to equal out a little bit.
Now, this is the part of the circuit where Josh Cook has shown good pace hitherto. He's right there on the back of Turkington for the race lead. He was quicker in the first sector of the lap, the first third. They're about to come through Church, use the curve on the inside, just past the Marshall's post. Very brave Marshall standing there, but it is a great place to watch a touring car if you're lucky enough to stand there. Now right in the slipstream comes Josh Cook. He goes to the outside line. Is this the change for the race lead? Not yet. Turkington is determined to score a race win. We've had 6 different winners already this year. Josh Cook is one of them. Colin Turkington has not yet had a win, and boy, does he want one.
No question. It was interesting hearing the 2 BMW drivers for this race. Remember that Turkington complained of high-speed oversteer, the rear getting away from him, and Collard complained of high-speed understeer, completely the opposite on the grid. So these 2 BMW drivers not enjoying the same setup, clearly.
We're on lap 11. It's a 16-lap race. The 2 race leaders are absolutely nose to tail. Turkington turns his way through the right-hander of Seagrave. This long right now up towards Noble. And he has got Josh Cook right behind him. The gap less than ever last time, 0.263 of a second when they came over the timing line. And Colin Turkington is doing a fantastic job of defending against a lighter and therefore theoretically quicker car being hustled on by a really determined Josh Cook, who goes for the inside line, but Colin Turkington closes the door.
You know, Josh is just trying to use his car's superior cornering speed to pull up the inside, trying to get a little overlap here on the inside. No, he can't do it. And immediately Turkington goes to cover it off, hoping to outbrake him on the inside. This isn't over yet, but yes, it is. Cook's got through. Wow. Wow, what a beautiful slide. He just holds it. It's going to be a little slow off the hairpin, off the chicane, though. Turkington cuts back to the inside.
Has Turkington got the momentum? No, he hasn't. He has to slot back in behind. So now it is Josh Cook the hunted rather than the hunter. Can Colin Turkington force a mistake out of the driver from Bath, the Northern Irishman in second spot coming up towards the complex? Josh Cook then hits the front. There's more drama going on at the chicane as Bobby Thompson does a Cook, as it were, and straight lines it rather than make contact. That's the other argument, isn't it, that you do that to avoid an incident?
Yeah, sometimes you do, and that's the one you take up to Ian Watson, the part of the course. But that was an interesting show of the weight difference between 2 cars, because Turkington got a better run coming off the chicane, but 60 kilos heavier. He could not accelerate the car as fast as Josh Cook before turn 1.
Meantime, Adam Morgan, that you're riding with, is in 7th place. This is looking good against Tom Ingram in terms of championship points. I know there's a long way to go, but interesting to just keep an eye on that situation. Ingram is in 14th, and he's a bit stuck behind Ash Sutton, who's defending well. Ingram hasn't yet been able to find a way through. There they are, look.
Matt Simpson is ahead up the road, and then, of course, the gaps open up. So now it's been a great charge through half the field. Life is a lot tougher for Ingram from here on in.
Yeah, it gets so hard. Of course, they all know they're trying to get... Oh, wow! High speed off. That looks like Brett Smith, I think.
I think you're right. It's a big lose coming up Woodham Hill. So off the road has gone the Eurotech Wix Honda, and it is Brett Smith digging himself back towards the circuit now as the leaders go by. Cook, Turkington and Neal, the top three. Tordoff is 4th, 5th is Jordan, 6th is Proctor. And of course, that moment for Brett Smith puts Matt Simpson 11th, Sutton is 12th, 13th is Ingram now. 14th Collard, and 15th into the points goes Rob Austin.
Of course, he's not guaranteed a reverse grid because it could be anything. The ball drawn out the hat could be anything from 6th to 12th.
And he's still got a couple of places, or at least one rather, to make up before he's guaranteed that. As now Morgan comes up to attack Senna Proctor. They've had a bit of contact earlier on in the lap before we cut to this shot, I understand. And so now Adam Morgan getting a bit more frustrated because he's stuck behind the Vauxhall, and he is coming under pressure from Tom Chilton in the forward behind him.
Yeah, lots of black and white flags for cars 6, 5, 6, 18, 77, 303. They haven't got enough flags to hang out, actually.
So Collard, Butcher, Proctor, Jordan, Simpson are on that list. It's quick and silly who's not, isn't it? On board with Morgan, down towards the chicane. Is he in the toe of Senna Proctor this time? Yes, just about. Can he make a move? No, not this time around, he can't. Proctor covers the line down to the chicane. Turn right, launch over the curb, left over the curb, right over the curb on exit, and accelerate up to the line. And has Morgan got the run this time? He's got a quick exit. And now he thinks about the inside for Allard and thinks better of it and slots back in behind.
Now this corner Allard, it used to be flat out, but the cars have got more power now, even though they've got a slightly bigger tyre. It's now a big corner. There's a breathe on the throttle. That's Brett Smith, who's been in the pits to have grass removed from the radiator, coming back out. But that turn one's a real big corner now.
And the race-leading gap is widening all the time. 0.8 of a second between Cook and Turkington. It's Matt Neal third ahead of Tordoff, Jordan and Proctor. So Josh Cook leading the way. Can you anticipate that other teams will go and have a word with the officials post-race about that move? If you were WSR, you'd inquire, wouldn't you? Because it might give a win to Turkington.
Well, exactly. You know, if they can get that position put back to behind Andy Jordan, wasn't it? Then there's an opportunity.
Here comes Rob Austin up the inside of Rob Collard. And the Alfa Romeo is going to go past the BMW on the inside. Brave stuff going through Church. So Rob Austin, who, as he will always tell you, is never short of commitment, and he's sideways coming out of Church there, and he just hung on to it. He's gone through up into 14th place. Again, everything on the line there.
Well, that's what we say. That's how hard drivers fight for everything, and that was for 14th place, sideways coming out of Church at 125 odd miles an hour.
Safer up here, isn't it? Tom Ingram is 12th, so he's in that reverse zone as you see Jack Goff getting up the inside there to try to go ahead of Chilton for 8th place. Chilton has faded, hasn't he, after a good start, and here comes Goff up the inside of the Motorbase Ford. The Eurotech Honda goes by, so Jack Goff now is 8th, despite struggling in race one with a lack of straight line speed. Now the car is lighter, it's looking a bit more promising.
Yeah, well, because he was carrying, 48 kilos, I think, in race one and 0 in race two, so he really should be quicker.
Out of Noble they come, on the limit those two. Chris Smiley is not far behind them in 10th place, whereas his teammate James Nash 20th. Michael Caine is down the pit lane, incidentally, another frustrating race for him. But up front, it is Josh Cook getting away now, leading by 1.3 seconds. Adam Morgan still charging on behind Senna Proctor, who's actually closing back up, it seems, onto the tail of Andrew Jordan, who in turn is right there behind Tordoff as they come to the chicane. This is lap 15, and into the braking zone. Proctor is 6th, Morgan is 7th, needing to keep out of trouble and bank points. Over the timing line goes the race leader onto the last lap now. Josh Cook leads Colin Turkington by 1.8 seconds. That chicane moment aside, Josh Cook has driven really well in this.
Absolutely, he's absolutely flown and he has driven brilliantly, and it'd be a shame to see this win lost in the steward's room, really, because he's driven very, very well. And as you say, he would argue that he was forced off the road, but he clearly gave an advantage because he got the position and the fastest lap.
Indeed so, yes. The evidence is there, isn't it? And we talked about it as Josh Cook for Powermax Tag Racing. Looks to give the team its 3rd win of the season. Adam Weaver, the man behind the team, is a real enthusiast, competitor himself in rallycross on occasions when he gets the time, and it's great to see this squad doing so well. Of course, Senna Proctor won at Brands Hatch, Josh at Donington, and looks like it's going to be a win here as well. You're looking at Ash Sutton versus Tom Ingram, 11th and 12th. But for the final time, down to the chicane. Josh Cook leads Colin Turkington, and Josh Cook, subject to anything that happens in the Clerk of the Courses office after the race, is going to be our 2nd double winner of the year, because it's win number 2 for Josh Cook. He will win at Thruxton in round 8 of the BTCC. Josh Cook wins on the road. Colin Turkington is 2nd. The celebrations start at Powermax Tag Racing as Matt Neal takes 3rd from Tordoff, Jordan, Proctor, Goff. And what's happened to Morgan? Because Morgan on the last lap has dropped right down the order. He goes through now. Transponder problem. Phew, panic over. He was tumbling down the screen, but he is 7th behind Proctor, ahead of Goff. So Adam Morgan's transponder is packed up, so he was there and takes 7th place ahead of Goff, Chilton and Smiley to round out the top 10. Sutton is 11th and Tom Ingram is 12th from 32nd. Josh Cook, incidentally, won Dunlop's Forever Forward Award in the first race for gaining 6 places. Tom Ingram, 32nd to 12th. Shows
I think he's a shoe-in. He's a shoe-in for that, isn't he?
Yes, polish the trophy now for him, yeah.
He'll be so disappointed, won't he, if 11 get drawn out of the hat when he finished 12. But a great effort to at least put him in a position, don't forget, with no weight starting race 3, to really go forward and establish some points.
So Josh Cook it is who takes the checkered flag first. Now, I know we keep harping on about it, but this, Tim, was the move.
Side by side, Cook slightly ahead into the braking area, but doesn't have the line. Jordan slid into view and actually used all of the road. They would certainly have had contact if Cook had tried to take the line. But, of course, he ends up coming out in front, and that is an advantage. And the drivers have been told very clearly this year, you must give that back if you're in doubt.
Well, all the teams will have seen that.
Yeah.
The Clerk of the Course, Ian Watson, will have a look. There's Jeff Allen, the driving standards advisor, who will give an opinion on it as well. And, of course, Josh Cook will offer an opinion.
Yeah, nevertheless, a very fine drive. And I think Turkington and Neal will be absolutely delighted with 2nd and 3rd with the maximum ballast.
So Josh Cook down to the chicane, and let's watch the onboard view from that moment.
Well, I mean, Jordan did take the line, didn't he? He really couldn't have made it, but he nevertheless gained an advantage.
Indeed, it's a tough one. Who would be the Clerk of the Course?
Yeah, and Jordan will say, well, he wasn't past me. He wasn't past me. I was entitled to take the line, and he should have backed off.
So let's have a look at how they crossed the line, and we'll keep you posted if there are any further developments. Josh Cook is the man first past the flag from Colin Turkington, and Matt Neal 3rd. 4th, Sam Tordoff, Andrew Jordan 5th. Another great result given how he must be feeling. 6th, Senna Proctor from Adam Morgan. 7th from Jack Goff, Tom Chilton, and 10th, Chris Smiley. 11th goes the way of Ash Sutton. 12th, Tom Ingram from 32nd. Then it's Rob Austin and Matt Simpson, with Aidan Moffat rounding out the scorers. Rob Collard 16th, another frustrating drive for him ahead of Ollie Jackson. Jake Hill 18th, and then it's Rory Butcher. Good effort up the field from him, actually, ahead of Bobby Thompson for 20th. James Nash dropped back towards the end. Tom Boardman got up to 22nd. Then it was Josh Price and Sam Smelt. Stephen Jelly struggling a bit. Dan Camish had a problem early on, as we know. Michael Caine was in the pits. Brett Smith had an off. Mike Bushell was in the pits with dramas. James Cole got damage after contact with Tom Oliphant that put Oliphant out, and Jason Plato was another retirement into the pit lane as well. So, Josh Cook it is who provisionally leads the Drivers' Championship now, 10 points ahead of Tom Ingram, who's on the same number as Adam Morgan. Colin Turkington is up to 4th ahead of Jack Goff. Matt Neal 6th from Dan Camish. Then Ash Sutton 8th, Andrew Jordan 9th, and Senna Proctor 10th. Josh Cook, a race winner and the new championship leader provisionally. So Josh Cook will make his way into Parc Fermé, and we'll have, of course, a chance to explain all about what happened at the chicane in a few moments' time. And with the reverse grid draw still to come, we look forward to what's going to be another jumbled grid for race 3. Josh Cook out of the car. There's no punching of the air.
No, that's true.
So I wonder what it is that's in his mind at the moment. Is he thinking maybe the team might have been on the radio saying we might need to look at that move? He's smiling, but let's hear the story. He's with Louise.
Fairly muted celebrations from you there. I was expecting a bit more.
I'm knackered. No, that was really good fun. Obviously Donington was good for my first win. To do it from the middle of the pack like that, you know, it was the first time we've been around here this weekend without weight. So the car was on rails, you know, on the front axle, but the rear was definitely moving around a bit. So a lot of huge sideways moments, but you know, credit to all of the guys at Powermax and Tag Racing. You know, the Euro Repair car service, Astra, has been great all weekend. Quality didn't quite go our way, but we knew we had the pace. So just credit to everybody. You know, that's the points that we needed. You know, when they're available, we're going to take them. And yeah, just got to try and work out what we're going to do for race 3.
As you say, it was absolutely blistering pace. So many moves. I've got to ask you about one of them, though, because I suspect there might be some people in the bus wanting to ask you about it in a minute as well. Let's just have a look at the move on Andrew Jordan at the chicane. Were you sort of quite happy with this? Do you think there are any questions to be asked here or questions to be answered?
You know, I went round the outside of about 3 cars there, and Andrew's the only one that pushed me wide. Not a lot I could do about it. It was you know, he was obviously struggling for pace a little bit, and don't think he liked me going around the outside and just give me a little touch. Don't think it was intentional, but it might have locked the brakes or something. But you know, for me, it was a fair move, and yeah, I've got no problems with it.
And what about getting past these 2 guys as well? I mean, slightly easier, but nonetheless hard work.
Yeah, of course. You know, we were really strong through Church. Minimum speed was really high, allowed us to carry good momentum onto the back straight. Just had to be late on the brakes. Thought I was going to be a little bit late, just lost the rear a little bit, but kept it in touch and made it through the chicane. So yeah, happy days and great job.
Well done you. Let's bring in the man who finished just behind you, Colin Turkington. Another P2. You'll take that, won't you?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, no, that's excellent. You know, with 66 kilos, that's a result for us. So you know, I could see early on I had the pace on Matt, and I was hoping he would you know, let me build a gap. But you know, when somebody's carrying less weight, it's only so fast you can drive. So, but you know, great credit to Team BMW. You know, my car is now better than it was in race 1. So to do that with an extra 57 kilos from what I had is a top job. So yeah, it's great to be back in the podium.
At what point did you realise that you didn't quite have the pace of Josh? Because I mean, he was pushing you for a while. You were battling him off for a while. Was it a decision to let him past, or just you couldn't hold him back?
Yeah, I couldn't hold him back. You know, I probably could have fought maybe for another 2 laps, but you know, it's not worth it when somebody catches you that quickly. You know, they've more pace. So yeah, you know, I was driving to the maximum, but you got to be sensible, and you know, I just wanted to score as many points today as I can.
Well done. Let's bring in Matt, the man you took off the line actually. Matt, not the best start we've seen you pull off. What happened there? Did you bog down a bit?
No, it was a good start. It's normal ratio, isn't it? It was actually not a bad start. Just Colin got a better one, and then I thought we can have a go at him. I felt stronger in the back half of the circuit, so we were so evenly matched on speed that I'd get in the toe, and then you'd sort of stop when you pulled out the slipstream. But then, and I was also watching Sam behind me in the JCT Ford, and then suddenly, because you can only see the header strip at certain points at your rear view mirror, I thought, that's not Sam's header strip. Where the hell's he come from? And Josh just came past me like a train, so he was on fire in that one. But I'm pleased. I'm still chuffed with the podium.
Well, again, as I just said to Colin, I mean, you'll absolutely take that result, won't you?
From where we've been so far, yeah, it's an absolute, it's a great result. It's a shame Dan didn't finish. He had a bit of a problem, but I'm chuffed to bits. 2 podiums here, fantastic.
Good stuff. Well done, you. Right, we're going to go for a quick break now. When we come back, we'll be finding out where Matt and everybody else at the top part of the grid will be starting our final touring car race of the day.
Another fascinating touring car race here in the sunshine of Thruxton. Colin Turkington blinding off the start. But then Josh Cook with a controversial move on Andrew Jordan at the chicane. Should he have given that place back? Well, he didn't, and he went on to force his way into the lead and, in theory, take the victory, his second of the season, ahead of Turkington, Matt Neal and Sam Tordoff. in fourth, but that is very much provisional at the moment. Andy Priaulx is standing alongside me, getting ready to do the reverse grid draw. What's your gut feeling about that one?
I think he's going to have some talking to do in the stewards' room there. I think he was a little bit aggressive. You've got to be opportunistic. Maybe he should have given the place back, and he probably would have still won the race. So he's going to be sweating a little bit, but he did a great job. He had a great drive, and he deserves the win. But I think he's going to have some talking to do.
Now, the theme of our draws and the people who do the draws here for the reverse grid throughout the season are drivers who have figured through the great history of the Touring Car Championship. Down the years, what did it come to mean to you? Because you were sort of in and out, came to it a bit late.
That's right. I mean, when I came through the lower formula, British Touring Car was really big. Super Touring Car era was huge, and it was always something I inspired to do. It was great to be with Honda in my first year and take their first win. And then I went off and did my stuff, came back recently again, and the level of the championship now is really high. It's one of the best touring car championships in the world, most established touring car championship, so it's always a privilege to win and race in the series.
And you've not entirely retired from racing, because you were out with, in the Citroën 24-hour race last weekend with Alan Gower. I mean, how would you assess the talent you saw there?
Well, I mean, he's clearly struggling. I had to sort of, slow down a little bit for him just so he didn't get the hump, because I might want to come back one day, and obviously got to keep him on the right side. In all fairness, he did a great job. It's a shame he ran the car out of fuel, otherwise we would have had a podium, but seriously, he did a good job and it was a lot of fun.
And he understood the rules, that's the main thing.
He was perfect.
And he understands the rules to this as well. This is the draw for the reverse grid. Let's just remind you that in the bowl here we've got numbers relating to the drivers who have finished the last race: 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Senna Proctor, who'll be number 6, Adam Morgan, who'll be number 7, Jack Goff number 8, Tom Chilton is number 9, Chris Smiley number 10, Ash Sutton number 11, and Tom Ingram is number 12. Make the draw, please, Andy. And you have drawn number 7 to put Adam Morgan once again on pole position for our third race of the day, the reverse grid race here at Thruxton. Thank you very much indeed. A quick word about Seb. He's not had the best of luck in F4 so far this weekend.
No, he's had a tough weekend, character building, on the back foot in free practice, and never really regained the speed. Had a couple of unlucky race incidents in that particular race and the one before, but still up there in the championship, so plenty to go for the rest of the year.
Okay, wish him well. We'll see him in action again very shortly.
Thank you, guys.
Dunlop sponsors the British Touring Car Championship.